Good evening. Just noticed that the music had finished in time, or maybe not quite in time. Welcome to WooTube. My name's Ba Ram Wu, and my daughter is still not asleep. So hopefully we get to hopefully we get to stream tonight. We shall see what happens. How's everyone doing today? Actually, the Jitinho stream is coming. I I think I've been like, it's weird. I've been like genuinely not playing Jitinho outside of Eternal, where I think Jitinho is just nuts. Um, and I don't know why. I think it's because it's Crim. Like, I mean, like when I do the Jitinho stream, it's probably going to be an Arrisanna. I kind of did Arrisanna last week, and I'm doing Arrisanna again this week. Um, but yeah, I still think it's good. I did find out at like Meat Space Netrunner this week um that the recursion part of it costs a click. Now I didn't know that before. Although the person that was playing the deck didn't realize that you could recur it from the bin. So it got a lot better for them and it got slightly worse for me. But I think still good. I still think that the fact that it comes back from the bin, the fact that this is a self-recurring card that you don't have to hold in hand, um, so it can be anywhere. It can be on the board, it can be in hand, it can just be in the bin, and you can land it from anywhere. Means that like there's very little play around to it. Like you couldn't be like, I'm gonna like do a load of damage on this run and knock the win con out of your hand because it's just gonna come back potentially. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Jutinho. Um, Today we're here to talk about this deck, which has the wrong name. I need to give it the correct name, which was going to be the name for the stream, but I figured that this actually is um, a better name. So this deck, which I'm going to post now or after this stream is finished, let's put it that way, is called InfiniTree. um, and is my most recent take on a standard World Tree Arrisanna deck. Um, I'm sure pretty much everyone here has seen kind of Andre's original like world tech tree Arrisanna, which he built before the new cards came out, and it was a pretty fun way, and it kind of proved that um, you could just play Arrisanna at about 65, maybe a few more cards, and make it work. And that very much focused on world treeing resources. In fact, I should probably do the good thing here and find it, right? Definitely not been building Isla. um, so here, actually, probably the easiest way, I reckon it's got to be still pretty far up. Yeah, tech tree. There we go. So this was Andres. This was like 60 cards. He was running Nobkuri and Imp and Class Act, which is a big old splash, but makes a lot of sense when you can like find that one card that you need. He was playing free Slack Vandal, and that was his kind of way of making early runs. And then he had this cool thing where you could set up a Nobkuri, which you only needed to play one of, and get this infinite Imp combo going. Really, really cool. And, you can play a single free influence console in a 60 card deck and find it because of World Tree. Very, very cool. We then, slightly more recently, Seb K, who's been playing around with World Tree decks a lot, took this deck to the AMT, came second. Really, really great. And I've been playing versions of this at about sort of somewhere between 68 and 72 cards ever since this deck did well, and in fact a little bit before that. I really, really like this. I think it's super, super fun. The there's a few big cards here, but one of the big ones, as you can see, there are 3 of them here, is the Entanglers. These let you like face check pretty much any ice and feel pretty safe about it. Like, there's no Typhonium anymore. You've got to be a bit careful of Hagen. Hagen will wreck your day if you are not careful, because you will lose your tree. Luckily, kind of no one's playing Hagen at the moment, which I think is interesting. I think it's actually like a quite good ice. I guess it's bad in the late game, but so it's like, do you want to play that as your early game like barrier, or do you want to play like, I guess, border control or something, which has better kind of staying power in the late game? But Entangler, really, really great card. Entangler is such a frustrating Arrisanna include. That is an interesting take, Axu, as in frustrating from the corpse side, because I can totally see that. Like, this is the kind of card where you run something which should be incredibly taxing when you hit it, or you like run a Sai Santan and they res a Sai Santan, or even, like a big snake, and they're like, haha, I've spent all my money, but I'm going to absolutely doom you. Or a Hydra. Hydra's a great example. Like, they're like, haha, you've ran my Hydra, I'm going to res it. It's going to cost you like a ton of money to either break it, or I'm going to get my money back. You're going to take a tag. And then you just go, okay, I'll Arrisanna for a Fasarum Entangler and like go for it for 3 credits. Toll Booth is an amazing example, actually. I have been really enjoying making people spend 8 to res their Toll Booth and then spending 1 credit to go through it with an Entangler. Absolutely disgusting. And yeah, this is a card which has seen a little bit of play in Criminal, but it's kind of tricky to use in Criminal. But makes so much sense as Arrisanna. And it's interesting, actually, because I know that on Andre and Yasengrin's original tier list, like, both of them were quite like low on this, and really weirdly, and they've both turned around and have said like, oh no, this was wrong, it's correct. Both of them were not hot on putting this in Arasana. I think the thought being like, I think their argument at first certainly was like, we've not been playing um, Botulus in Arizona, so why would we play Visarum? But this is this just bypassing an ice, not just having to deal with just a single sub is huge, absolutely huge. Let me just catch up on a few things here. And both of them now, Andre and Yasengrin, have both kind of said separately, like, yeah, we kind of underestimated how good this is in Arasana. Um, yeah, and I think a lot of their takes were pretty good, but that's certainly one that they missed, I think. Oren asks, do you have to commit the entangler before the res because it fires on encounter, or can you wait? You can wait. You just got to be careful on JNet that you don't click too fast to like continue to encounter, because there is a window. So when you're running a server, you're running a piece of ice, and then they res the ice, and then you encounter the ice. But between that, there is a window, which is why, for instance, if you run into a Dewar and they res a Dewar, you haven't encountered it yet. The encounter step hasn't happened, so you can install stuff at that point if you're able to. For instance, you used to be able to install an MK Ultra from the bin to then break the Dewar with, because your steps go first. So you can do this to completely bypass it. So yeah, like a classic example is Tollbooth, which I can't spell. So here they'd res the Tollbooth, pay 8, and then just if you're on JNet, make sure you don't click the continue to encounter. You can then install and do it. Arasana teaching players how timing actually works. Yeah, it's a really good one for like learning your timing windows and kind of forcing you to learn your timing windows, whether you're playing as Arasana or whether you end up playing against Arasana. It's actually pretty useful. You can also pop a flip switch to not eat an Ansi. Yes, so that's again, if they res an Anansi before you've encountered the Anansi, you wouldn't normally be able to jack out. Anansi obviously says that if you haven't broken all the subs during the encounter with this ice, then you do 3 net damage. But after they've resed it, you could use flip switch, because you have a timing window there. You've got a paid ability window to use the jack out, trash this, jack out clause, and then you miss it. Hey Z-Bag, how you doing tonight? I think you were playing in the Toronto NAN PC, which NAN PC was happening on the weekend. I'm pretty sure you were there because XDG from Tiebreakers was there. Did very well. Ended up in the top cut. So congrats to XGG. I know he was hoping for a top half, and he smashed that target. So anyway, where do we get to? So we got to the fact. Oh, you were the TO. Oh, nice. Even better. So we got to here, and I've been playing versions of this deck with kind of variety of cards, and then I kind of wanted to see if we could condense this back down, because it works weirdly well at sort of 68, 70 cards. You probably don't want to go too much over that. I think I was straying into 72 cards. But for you to see the cards that you want to see, you have to play, like, for instance, you have to play a lot of MU options. So you see here, like, Seb's on 2 Cyberdelia, 3 DZMZ, 1 Lilypad. I think I was even on 3 of each, or I was 3 Cyberdelia, 2 DZMZ, one lily pad, and then you're playing like a bunch of air blades so that you can find your MU options, because MU becomes like a massive problem with this deck, because you're already taking up 2 with the World Tree, and you don't have any well, we do have a Daemon, but it doesn't host for 0 MU anymore, so we can't kind of use stuff to do it. Hey, Wentgon, very good to see you. So the issue that I had when I was playing this deck and versions of it was that quite a lot of times you got the brickiest hand that you've ever seen in your life. You'd have like maybe like 2 Cyberdelias and one of your breakers and an overclock but no way to use it maybe, and an Earthrise which you don't want to install because you've got like 4 credits and that would be all of your money. And that felt really bad. And I was like, okay, what if we could slim this down and try and get it to 45 cards? Haven't managed to get to 45 cards, but I've got quite close. So I started looking at some options and what you could really cut out of this and what was the absolute minimum that you'd need. And when I was doing that, I remembered a note which someone had said where it was in a Tiebreakers Discord, and it just said, if you have a Coalescence down, then rejig is a sure gamble. Seems fine. It's true. If you play rejig, actually I'll stay here because this is not a totally well-known card, but it's a bit of a classic favourite of mine. If you play rejig, then you can bring a Coalescence back to your hand, reinstall it for free, because this reinstalls either a program or a piece of hardware. It doesn't have to be the same one, and we'll get onto that in a bit. And it reduces the install cost by the amount of the thing which you've uninstalled. Read the card. It's much easier. It explains it much better than I do. So at the very, very least, rejig is a sure gamble, right? Because if we rejig a Coalescence, that's 4 credits. Great. A Wild Turtok, I'll get to that point because it's actually the first place I went with this deck, and I've moved on to something else, but I will talk about that. So that was interesting. That meant I was like, well, if it's at minimum a sure gamble, but actually at its height, it's much, much more than a sure gamble, because if we rejig a Coalescence, that might also get us a Lilypad draw. So now it's a sure gamble and a draw. It might also get us a counter on an environmental testing. So now it's a sure gamble, a draw, and a counter on an environmental testing. And that's if we're just rejigging a Coalescence. What if we rejig a Muse? So this card is kind of nuts, because obviously this is a program, we can install it mid-run using Arrisanna, we can pull our Trojans from out of nowhere, but we can also pull stuff out of the bin, which is really good for World Tree decks where we want to find more stuff to sell to our World Tree, and that's pretty cool. But even better, if we rejig a Muse, then we can reuse that pull something out of the bin option. So this is the classic kind of Shaper thing where when people have been talking about Muse, they've been like, oh, Shaper's now got 6 Simul chips instead of 3. And if we play rejig, then we've got 9 Simul chips instead of 3. Oh yeah. So what happens if we add another favourite card of mine in, which I haven't played for a long time, but this card, Test Run, technically can install the same program twice. So with Test Run, obviously you can use this to tutor stuff out of your deck. That's fine, and that's going to be an important part of it. But we could also test run a Muse out of a bin, pulling a Trojan out of a bin along with it. Then the Muse is going to go back onto the top of our deck at the end of our turn, letting us reinstall it next turn. So all of a sudden we've gone from 3 symbol chips to 6 symbol chips to 9 symbol chips, and now we've not gone to 12, we've gone to 15 potential symbol chip forms of recursion. Now, these are only really useful forms of recursion if we're doing something with those cards which are coming out, and what better thing to do with them than to sell them to a World Tree or potentially to Aesops. So, this is the deck which I have kind of landed on. Hey Liam, how are you doing? I think I played you on this deck the other day, and we were talking about it. So I hope you enjoy seeing this. Firstly, we'll have a little look at the event package, because this stream is called Back to My Roots, and it's called Back to My Roots for a pretty good reason. When I started playing Netrunner, I used to play almost exclusively Wu decks, Cabanessa Wu decks. I only knew how to play decks which had Magnum Opus as their like economy package, and so I would just find ways of getting a Magnum Opus out. Now, I was also quite new to the game, and I didn't understand the whole like self-modifying code stim hack thing that you could do, and I thought that self-modifying code seemed very expensive as a card. I don't want to pay an extra 2 credits. So I used to do a whole load of stuff, and I wish I've gone right back, and unfortunately, I mean, it could even be on a different it could be on a previous like login than here. The decks don't go back as far as as the deck which I'm thinking about, which is a shame. But I used to play like decks which had instead of it, which would play scavenge. So I would get the program, normally a Magnum Opus to start with, out of my deck with Cabanessa Wu, then I would scavenge it, sell it and put it back on the board, and then I'll click it 2 times, and then I've got a Magnum Opus and some money. And then I found out that you could do some funky stuff using Brahman to like pull stuff out with Wu, and then you put it back onto the top of your deck with Brahman so that it doesn't get RFG'd from the game. And that is where I get my name from, because I played Brahman Wu decks, and so Ba Ram Wu. So this is like true like back to my roots gaming. I played so many of these decks, and they were fucking awful. They were not good because they didn't have like the economy package, which I need. Or they did, but they were very, very slow. And so I used to sort of just be doing lots and lots of installs, and like not really like making runs or doing anything like that. I was just interested in building an engine and doing it in the most nerdy kickflippy way possible. So that's kind of what this deck is doing. It is building an engine, but doing it in the like nerdiest, most kickflip way possible. But we're doing it out of Arrisanna instead of Wu, so we can pressure at the same time. So this deck is like a tumber. So let's talk about this. So we have 3 copies of Test Run. We have no copies of SMC. I have decided that I don't like the SMCs in the World Tree lists, because once you've got a World Tree down, that takes up 2 MU. It is I've never had a game where I very, very rarely had a game where I've had 2 MU spare to get down another SMC, even just to get it down to sell it using the World Tree. I just don't have the MU, and if I do, then the game's going so slow on the corp side that like the late game engine here is insane, so we don't have to worry about it. So I was like, well, let's take out the SMCs. What if we played Test Run instead? And that allows some far more kind of dynamic uh, opening turns. And obviously, once I'm playing Test Run, then we might as well play rejigs. And then as we're playing rejig, at the very least, as described, this is a sure gamble or a creative commission. So we can take out the creative commissions or the sure gambles which used to be in here, right? Right. We're playing 3 copies of spec work. This is like the only other thing. This is like the best thing just to get us going early on. Diesel would be fine, but spec work is better because we are probably going to have something down that we're going to want to sell. We're very good at having programs on the board, and particularly programs like an empty muse or an empty coalescence, which we want to sell and move forward. We do have 1 copy of Aesop's, but this is not an Aesop's deck, as in we're not going to get the Aesop's early apart from in very certain situations. But the Aesop's in here does provide us a way to get an unlimited infinite economy in the end game, and I'll get to that in a second. So this is all our events. So how do we get our tree? Because the most important thing here is that this deck only works if it can get its tree down like turn 1 or turn 2. And so far, it has. And I've played quite a few test games with it in various guises, and I've never really struggled, unless I've thought that I didn't want the tree down for some reason, to get the tree out very early. So we can test run out the tree, rejig it, run and sell something for a coalescence. That's like the ideal thing. If we got a test run and a rejig in hand to start with, then we're like absolutely golden. But we don't need both of those things to make this work. Let's say we've got a coalescence and a test run in hand. What we can do is we can install the coalescence. We can even do this in the run. So let's do this like this. So we test run out a world tree. We make a run with Arrisanna, putting the coalescence down, clicking it for the 2 credits. We then sell the coalescence, the empty one, for the 2nd copy of world tree. There are 2 world trees in here. Okay, we've then got our world tree down, and then ideally we spec work the other world tree. Pretty good. Games played 1 with this one. There's plenty of other versions which I've played other games with Wild Turtle. Don't worry about it. This is like a copy which I made just for today, so that I wasn't switching around too many other things. So we can do that. We can also muse, like a more expensive version is we can muse out a world tree, rejig it off the muse, then run and sell the muse to the world tree to get a coalescence and start making money that way. So that costs 8 credits. So it's a tricky thing to do. Like, you can't really do it turn 1. In fact, I don't think you can do it turn 1. But the difference is between this and like an SMC version is that we can pretty reliably turn 1 or 2 have a world tree down, something ready to sell for next turn, and credits. And I'll show you I will show you the first portion or the first turn, if I can remember which one it was, and if I can't, then that's possibly an issue. It might be an issue. I can't remember exactly which game it was. So I'll yeah, no gambles, that's dog. But yeah. Okay, but hopefully it will come up. Now, there's evening Augustus. Good to see you. So there's a couple of things which I'm considering changing here. One is just playing a single entangler. But I do like having 2 because this really lets us get in. And most importantly here, we've got 3 ways of getting through stuff. We have entangler, Propeller, and Slap Vandal. Between the three of them, that allows us to get through almost any ice in the early game, which is really, really important because it means that the Corp can't like just ice up all servers and be completely safe. We can get through there. We don't want to be on SMC and all the other stuff. We do not. I genuinely think I think Test Run is far better than SMC. Also, for the fact, so Test Run in the late game is a card which I want to draw. I never want to draw SMC in the late game of a World Tree deck. Test Run, I am very happy to see. At the very least, it's like you test run a Coalescence, which is I click for a credit, but next turn I'm going to click for 4 credits and a draw and a whatever. Okay? And then the real spice with here is the District 99. So I said that this had an infinite economy. In the late game, District 99 allows us to get back one program that matches our faction. That means that we can get back a Muse and reinstall a Coalescence with the Muse, which we're probably going to do for free, because if this is the late game, then we are going to have at least 2 DZMZs down. We're probably going to have an Urban Art Vernissage going. Like, if we're doing this like trick, we're installing these for free. So we install a Coalescence and a Muse for free. That gives us 2 more turns of Aesop's fodder, which basically gets us to District 99 having another count, having 3 counters, and then we click it and go again. Now, if you want to be really spicy about it, then you add in a Flux Capacitor, and then you genuinely have, like, as long as you break 1 piece of eye in those turns, then it's pretty sick. 3 test runs is excellent. Yeah, just hopefully I can really show off what they can do here, because it's kind of nutty. Now, a card which I've been playing in other versions, which I have really, really liked, and particularly liked here, is 1 copy of Copulation. And we'll have a little look at the influence and how we fit this in. Because we could play this instead of the Bones, but I kind of want to play it as well as the Bones. So Copulation, great card on its own, like does some really nutty things and allows us to deal with a couple of problems which the deck has. It can really suffer to self-growth program, and I have been considering and trying like sticking in a single no free lunch, but I'd prefer to have better solutions to it. So Copulation is a way that we can just grab the self-growth programs out of the hand and hold on to them. More importantly, Copulation in combination with Test Run, Rejig, Muse, and Simulchip is insane. Like, if you test run out a Copulation, you run, you grab a card. Next turn, you reinstall the Copulation, you run, you grab a card. You don't necessarily have to use this for the multi-access, although that's a nice thing to have. And then we have like our HQ multi-access. You can just use this to completely deny Court's win cons, which seems sick. So I want to try this, and I'm gonna try playing Gauss, and probably regret it. But I think we can play the Gauss, and I think we can play it instead of the Propeller, and just go for this. How are we paying for all this? The deck just starts to print money before too long. Like, you get the engine going, and then it starts rolling. You have to get the engine going, and that's all this deck is trying to do. It's trying to get the World Tree engine going, and going fast. Going turn 1, going turn 2, and still pressuring the Corp while your engine's ticking over. And Coalescences, Muses, like if you have enough stuff out, then you go find Aesops, and obviously like flipping your daily casts and turning your teleworks and things into daily casts for free is sick. And at the end of the day, if we just need 4 credits at some point, then we rejig a Coalescence, and then we're there. No SMC for World Tree, Lucille. Free test runs. It is better. I'll let you go back and listen to me rant about why it's better after this, because I've just done that. So we're going to try it with one compilation and one Gauss, and then when I hate myself for making that change, we'll go back. Because I don't actually know if we can afford to reinstall the Gauss each turn. Or we drop to one entangler. We could drop to a single entangler. Yeah, no worries. No worries. I'm going to try it with the Gauss because I wanna see how it feels. Because to be quite honest, like the barriers don't feel great to get through anyway, but I kind of wonder if anyone's playing any medium-sized barriers at the moment. It's like Bran or Boto or like things that cost you one anyway, right? I think. WooTube live. I am a runner. I am a standard. Okie dokie. Let's just check I've like loaded up the right one. We have a game already. We have someone that I do not know. They're playing as Thule. That's interesting. Hey, good luck, have fun. Okay, so we now have to think whether we want to keep this opening, which is an interesting one. But basically, do we have turn one World Tree? And we might do. So we can go DZMZ, install Coalescence, click it for 2. Install a Muse. Thinking about a mull. 2 secs. I actually have to do the math here, so I'd need. It's like most of my cards. I don't think I can quite get World Tree turn 1, but I might still go with this. It's not my favourite. I don't like having both Coalescence in hand, to be quite honest. I'm going to mulligan. That's fine. We've got a World Tree in hand. That'll do. Okay. Why is there a Gauss? Well, we're gonna. I just want to test it with Gauss because I thought about Gauss today. Uh, Liam says laughs in BTL. Now, I think Gauss is better than Cleaver against BTL because we've got so many ways to reinstall it. That's like 6 strength. Sorry about the alarm. So like is just genuinely better. So here we could go. Oh my gosh, there are 108 cards. Oh fuck. Oh, okay. I've never felt so bad about going into a game. Wow. Uh, well, well, I guess. We could play Precious, right? Precious Spike. It's probably not the worst idea. We'll do this. We'll put down a tree. I think I can. I'm gonna run the archives just to be safe. I don't want to hit a snare here. So here we'll get another coalescence down. Click that for 2, and then we'll probably spec work. I think. Okay, Bones is pretty good because they look like they're gonna stick some stuff out. Next turn, yeah, so Bones seems good. Next turn, we're going to go like DZMZ. We'll put down the Muse, getting a Coalescence back out from hand. Now etching. We'll put down the Bones and probably run the Nico. I'd love to be able to do one more thing, but you've got to kind of build up a little slowly here, and we probably do want to get the DZMZ value for what it's worth. So we'll go heap. We'll get a coalescence. We'll click that for 2. We'll put down the Bones and we'll run this Nico campaign. We'll sell this coalescence. Now here we could get another Muse to get the coalescence back from the bin, which I think is actually correct. just have a think about that. No, I'm just going to get the third coalescence for now. And we'll trash that. And take 2 from here. Okay. I need to move the, like, chat over here, because otherwise I will miss stuff that's happening. Someone chose violence today. Yeah, too right. I have made the text of my chat box too much. Oh, it's my turn. Screwing about with chat. Right, can we afford to run this? What if it's snare? Might be a snare. We might try and get Okay, well we can draw. That's good. That could get us an air blades, which could be quite good. Test run is great. So here we could test run, but I'm not going to. I'm going to run and get a muse trashing whatever this is in 4. We'll go for the heap, we'll get a coalescence, we'll trash that. Taking 2 off here. And I think we run and get rid of this nano etching matrix, as slow as it is for them. We don't have a Parisia, unfortunately. But we are trying to, like, get us down. Public trail end of the line could be in there, but they've got 102 cards, so you know. I'm not going to be stuck here for too long. Don't worry. I'm going to get a turbine down, and we're gonna. They must have a lot of agendas in there, is what I'm thinking. Right. Do we still have 1 coalescence left? No, we've sold all our coalescences. So we probably go and get a turbine, which is interesting. I might have to get. I want to get Lilypad down. It's really important that we get Lilypad down super early. So I'm actually going to do that here. We'll run 5. Could be a snare, hopefully. We'll sell the Simmel chip. We're going to get Lilypad. This is one of our most important things to get early. I think we just start leaving these now. Yeah, I can trash it for 2. We want to keep 1 on here. So now we play this for a coalescence, which draws us a card. We click this twice. We'll draw 1 and we'll... Oh, I thought I had a click left to install the Aesops. I don't. We do actually want the Aesops going here. Conduit. Well, the thing is about Conduit versus Turbine is that they will eventually find ice, and we do want, like, if we go too hard too early on the whole like Conduit thing, then we'll doom ourselves. We definitely want to get, I think, just these 2 down. We're just going to build up our board state as quick as we can, and then start hitting them. We've got Cupellation, which is like really good against them. In fact, I'm probably going to run and get a Cupellation and start looking at these things. I might draw 1. No, I don't have to draw 1. I'll draw 1 off the World Tree install. So let's do that. Let's Aesops this one here. We'll run server 6. We'll sell this for a cup. We'll draw a card in case it's oh, that's fine. This is no, we'll just trash that, I think. We've drawn our conduit, which is fine. We don't actually want to put it down quite yet. We probably want to use this Cupellation for something from hand. We'll steal an off-world. We'll pay 2 and a click. We'll draw a card just in case they do happen to have end of the line. So now we can rejig this Muse next turn, getting a coalescence back. We could also use it to get, or we might well use it. to get a entangler here. Do we want to ASOPs anything? I think we actually don't want to ASOPs anything here because I want these for rejig and world tree targets. So if we get an entangler here, we can probably get through whatever it is. Like if it's a barrier, then so be it. So let's rejig this. We'll reinstall it. It will draw a card as well, which is very nice. We'll look in our stack for an entangler. We'll put it here. A really nice thing I didn't mention about rejig is that we can rejig an entangler back into our hand. Amazing. They spent 6 on that. We'll pay 3. We can rejig an entangler back into our hand, putting a different program out, which is so nice. We'll sell Amused. We're gonna get our turbine down because it's actually like the more important of them to go. We'll steal that. One on a click. You see, this isn't going to be a long game because, especially not if they go and get an agenda. If they, I mean, oh, we've got Stegodons. Okay, they really want to long this one out. I mean, we're gonna run that, but it's more likely to actually be something in hand, I guess. Kind of want a symbol chip back now. That's a shame. This has got to be a trap, right? There's no chance that you pull a move like that. I think we do Aesop something here. Oh, well, we'll Aesop the casts. We'll do the casts, sell the casts. I'm going to let them score a Stegodon if they want to score a Stegodon. Oh, we've got a Muse now, so that's sick. We'll just do this. I don't believe this is the Stegodon. Show me. Okay, it was the Stegodon. That's fine. That's fine. We can bypass anything which they stego, so we don't really care too much. At the start of our turn, we're going to sell this so that we can get it out of our hand, I think. Because we actually kind of want it in the bin. No, maybe we sell this Muse. That was next level play right there. No, I'm going to sell this, and then I think we might install the no, I want one more MU before we install the conduit. So let's take some money. We'll run HQ. We'll see what's in there. If they res, it's great for us. That was kind of wild. It's a wave. I think we just let that fire as much as they are like quite poor. I'd quite like to. What have they got? They revealed a pulse. Fine. That can fire. You can have that. We're going to go and get our buzzsaw. We can then deal with all of their ice that they've got currently. We'll sell this Muse for 1. It will draw us a card. Yeah. And we'll steal. GG. Easy game. Thanks for the game. Right. I mean, 102 car full. Who knows? Or Thule. The DRM for Stegodon and then actually install the Stegodon. I mean, they played me there. They played me good. I'm on. Hey. I chose the wrong side. You okay to corp? This is pre-Nick. I'm gonna meet him at at EMEA. Thanos, how you doing? On the menu today is a deck which goes back to my roots of Netrunner. It is an infinite engine um, Arrisanna deck, which has what looks like zero money in it, but it does work. It plays free test run, free rejig, and it does some nonsense with Muse and Coalescence. Okay, probably a much faster game. So here, this is straight up G of a hand. We've also got the copulation, which means that we can go in and steal the things, and we've got an airblade, which means we can get a lily pad early. This is like the best opening hand. We're gonna keep that harder than a rock. I like announcer voice. It was not a good game. I mean, if they ice all centrals here, then that's like ballsy, but I don't think they will. We've got enough money to do all of this, right? Yeah, we have. So we'll go stack, world tree. Oh wait, do we have enough money to do all of this? Yes, because we've got a rejig in hand. Absolutely sickening. We can run archives, installing a coalescence, clicking the coalescence, breaching the server, selling the coalescence, getting a coalescence. We possibly could have got the Muse there, you know? And then we'll redirect the tree. And we can draw a card last click. And now, so this is what I'm talking about test run being better than SMC. Right now, we've done turn 1. We have a tree down, something to sell to it next turn, and 8 credits. Oh, sorry, my camera is in the wrong place. It should be here. Apologies. I'll also try and remember to scroll the log. I'm very bad at scrolling the log, but it's quite important in a match like this. Okay. And like now they can't stop us, which is hilarious. So I think we're gonna get the lily pad now, as much as I'd like to get just more like value, but like the lily pad early is super important. I'll draw once for in case we get a Trojan. I'll run archives. I don't think we're going to install the Muse, which is a shame. We could install the copulation, and then next time we can run HQ and try and nab a seamless. Yeah, it's a really good turn 1, but this deck is full of really good turn 1s. We're going to put down a copulation, and we want the card draw. Spec work is great for next turn. We're going to spec work with coalescence, then we're going to run possibly just this server. There's not much that keeps us out. Bran would be annoying. Is this we're playing Gauss right over Propeller? Oh, that's a shame. Let's spec work that. Hush is interesting. We could go HQ here and try and cup the Whatchamadoodle. I think we're going to go server 1. We've got a Muse, so we can deal with most things. Bran is like the one thing that we can't deal with very well. We could get a Gauss to deal with this, but I think we're just going to lose out on this turn. That's fine. Actually, you can fire that. I wonder if I have to, do I have to rerun? Yeah, good point. Because uh, if they install from hand, then that gives us, yeah, that gives us a better chance of hitting. Oh, and they didn't have it. Okay, so we're going to go... So this could be Rashida. But we're going to go HQ. And then if they don't res, then we'll muse for... There's a chance that we muse on approach here to get a Kayaban, thinking. If it's Drafter, it's annoying, but I don't actually think it's that bad. If it's Magnet, it's worse. I think we're gonna Arrisanna on approach here. Or I just actually muse, or maybe we just muse and then run. I think we're gonna muse, draw a card, install from the stack, Kayaban on HQ, and then we'll run HQ. There's a chance that I should have just got a Slap Vandal on Bran and then been able to, or a Pikachu on Bran and then been able to go through next turn. But this feels also pretty good. Right, this Muse we're probably just selling for a Coalescence. There's a chance that we sell it for another Muse to get a Coalescence out of the bin, so that we always have a Muse on board. There's also a chance that we start getting our Turbine down now. I think that's wrong. I think we get Muse and get Coalescence from a bin. And we steal an Architect deployment test. Feels good. Okay, show me Rashida. We would have loved to have coupulationed that. Not gonna lie. So now we could start building our rig. We could put down the bones and run server 1. Costs us like a lot of money and all our clicks. So maybe that's a bad move. Running HQ now, if it's a drafter, it's not great. I'm going to draw 1 for a Simmel chip. Okay, that's also fine. That's pretty good, actually. We might want to test run a Muse out of the bin. We haven't quite got the MU for it. So I think I might just run HQ and see what they do. I don't think anything's too bad for us. Tributary is a shame, but that's fine. What we're going to try and do is run archives, force them to move it onto archives, and then we're going to hush it like next turn. What do we need is the real big question. I think we might sell this Kayaban for now. I prefer to get it back later. I want to keep the Muse on board, so we'll sell this. I think we have to get the turbine down. It's really useful to have this down like way earlier than anything else. The other option is no. You see, like it always feels odd, but it is genuinely correct. Perfect. Right. So this is why we wanted to keep the Muse on board, because now we can rejig it. Probably shouldn't have drawn a card there because I'm now a bit over. Getting down the casts, I do want the DZMZ, but that probably feels better next turn, although we're not going to get DZMZ value next turn. Maybe we will. I think we chuck out District 99. The problem is there is no way of us getting District 99 back. But I just don't think that this game will be long enough for it, and I think I like all the cards in my hand better. There's a chance we chuck out the bones. It depends if we think we can run this server. We probably can. We'll throw out the District 99. Maybe, if they didn't have a tributary rezzed, we'd throw out the Hush. Because we can, we get back next turn. Maybe we should have thrown out the Hush. Tricky to say. I'm holding Hush to hush the tributary. We're going to run archives and hush the tributary. And then I think we're getting a Gauss and running through the Bran for 3 credits. I really want to put this Bones down first, but can't afford to, which is a shame. They could install ice here, but I think we go with that. So let's run archives. They're just letting us in. That is wild. Okay, so the big question here is thinking. Yeah, hushing the BC is pretty good. The big question here is, do we want to keep the Muse around? No, we can test run the Muse, which is better than rejigging it. So we can just sell the Muse here, get a Gauss, go through the brand for 3 credits. And this is why we get the Turbine first. Do we want to draw a card? We're gonna probably click twice through here. So I think we actually don't, because we like all the cards in our hand. Like, you want to keep the cards in your deck. Like, it's quite weird with this deck because you actually don't want to draw very much. There's very little like econ that you're drawing for. You're just drawing for MU options. Could trash that, but I don't want to trash it without bones. So this one's a Managarm. It's a Tucana. Augustus is in the chat somewhere. So now, what do we do? So we can rejig this, Gauss. We could stick down the bones and go back and get the Tranquility Grid now that we know there's no Managon there. Is that a play? I think that's actually a play. Feels really weird, but I think I probably should have just done this before, because now I've just cost myself like way more money. And I should have just been prepared to pay the 5. I should have just been prepared to pay the 5. But this is okay. Right. So money situation. Next turn, we probably test run a Muse. Have to put down a DZMZ first. Disappointingly, test run doesn't work very well with whatchamacallit. There's also a chance I should have put the hush on this tributary, and I kind of forgot to. Okay. So alternatively, we could do that now. Do we want to run HQ? Probably not. So we could go DZMZ, install the hush here. We're going to be a credit short. Gauss is the barrier breaker, which is really bad apart from specifically into matchups where they're playing Bran, if you reinstall it and you've got a turbine out, because then you get through a Bran for 3 credits. Thinking. I don't want him to get a Rashida off. We could just let the trib... We can't just... we could let the trib fire and click through the Bran. How's that going to feel? And then we could sell the copulation to get a coalescence. I think that might be correct. Like this turn. I think we're just going to let this fire. We've got 5 credits. If they void here, then I think that's fine. I guess if they void and it's specifically a Rashida, then that's annoying. Interestingly, we could let the first sub fire. Okay, they've iced up archives. I think now they don't have any ice. Do we? And if they do have ice, do we just make them spend 3 credits on it? So that we still have a click. It's like risky. I think I'm gonna let that one fire and see what happens. Gives the click back. I don't know what we do with that click. I guess is the one risky thing. But we are always threatening to like Arrisanna something if they install. Right. Any res here? Yeah. That's fine. We'll pay 5. We'll sell the cup to get coalescence, drawing a card. We should be able to. I think we should be able to click that, but I'm not totally sure. We'll steal an off-world and we'll trash this. Gaining 3. And then we don't have quite enough clicks to install and click a telework. Selling unused cup is fine, Lucille. We have so many ways of getting it back. We're just going to test run it back in a minute. Like, it would be ideal to like hold on to their seamless so that they can't score. We should probably run a central here, actually. What are we doing? Let's just run... We don't have enough clicks to get the cup back and run a central, which is a shame. I think they've got other stuff in HQ. Unfortunately, obviously, Ikawa is unstealable here. They've got another seamless in there. Fine. Okay, there's not a window to stake tokens. That's fine. JNet is correct. So now we probably sell this to get a buzzsaw down. Although we want to sell this casts, so we're gonna run archives. We're gonna put down the DZMZ, then we're gonna run archives, and if they move the trib, then we're gonna just stick the trib there with this hush, which is hilarious. Can we do that last click? Run archives. Okay, they didn't move the trib. They're not falling for our shenanigans, but we're also getting a free run here. So that's lovely. We can get another casts on the go. We could challenge a central. We could get the copulation back and challenge a central. We're a bit poor to be doing that. I think we do this. Okay, they're back up in the money. We can draw. We kind of want to draw a symbol chip. Would be really, really good. So let's draw. World Tree is no good. Let's draw again. That's great. That's ideal. Right, if we run this turn, what are we selling? We're selling this coalescence and we're getting a buzzsaw. I think we're gonna run archives. No, we're gonna run HQ. Although we don't want to stick, but once we've got the buzzsaw down, we don't actually need to hush it anymore. So we're like absolutely fine at that point. Here we're not gonna entangle the tributary if they move it across, because we need to be able to entangle this. This is a problem. I haven't mentioned that we do have an issue with getting through magnets, so now we really have to get our buzzsaw down, and I'd kind of forgotten about that and should have made more of an effort to get buzzsaw down super early, because I forgot that magnet is otherwise a big old problem. Fine, we get a free run here. We can sell this. We'll get a buzzsaw. And we'll... Do we draw a card? Do we need the hush anymore? I think Oh, yeah, we can draw a card because we can throw out the World Tree. But this is kind of why you don't want to necessarily draw too much, like unless you are really in need of finding something, because we kind of didn't want to draw this casts, right? Like we don't want to accidentally draw our turbine or something, which we could otherwise install for like no credits. The tributary is less of an issue now. We don't need to hush it anymore because we can just break it. Cost us one. Corpo Hospo, seamless back to hand. So here we're probably going to test run. We're probably going to test run the copulation. There's a chance that we put the hush on the tributary. Can I do that on the way? There's a chance that we just do that first just to get our DZMZ trigger. Either that or we just run this server, because we can do. We just rejig the Gauss and then run the server, which is fine. It's like a fine use of Gauss. Not the world's greatest use of Gauss. What are we selling if we do that is the big question. We probably install the hush on the way in and sell the hush something else. Let's rejig the Gauss. We'll draw a card. That's cool. That's potentially better. I don't know. We'll run server 1. We'd like a Kayaban, actually, is what we'd really like. We'll break. We have clicks or credits to deal with whatever this is in the server. We'll break. Forgot to get something out, didn't I? There is no daily cast left. Whoops. Meant to Ari something. Do you mind? I wonder if we still can. Apparently I went too far. The Slap Vandal's actually pretty good. I think I'd rather keep that than the Hush. As much as the Hush dealing with board controls if we see them is very useful. So here we'll put the Hush on here. I think we Silver Hush. We'll Silver Hush for. We actually could get Muse, but I think we probably just get the Echelon down right now. MU becomes like a bit of an issue. I've got this in hand. Oh, I don't have a Kaiban anymore. Okay, so just actually getting a Pikachu down seems pretty sick. We'll trash that. We'll click this and we'll install the casts. Next time we'll run R&D. See what happens. Or we test run the compilation and then we run HQ. I think that's what we do. Yeah, because they haven't. Oh, they did push out in the server. We'll test run HQ. Then we'll sell. Oh, I forgot we had this bones that we could have sold. So that we can get our we'll go to the heap, get a compilation, draw a card. Run. We could run our. No, let's run HQ. Try and. We can potentially go hand with conduit, and I think we probably will. I guess we probably should before they score again, because especially if this is like a whatchamacallit. Right, find a seamless. What are we selling? We're probably selling this bones and getting the UAV. Oh, and we steal Ikaworth of a win. Turn 10. We've got this. Look at this rig for turn 10, going against PD and being able to pressure them whilst setting this up is so nuts. Yeah, and I kind of figured if this is a Rashida and we've got compilation going next time, they're going to draw into agendas, I think, here. And if not, then we probably go ham. But feels good, right? Like, I probably should have saved the replay of that just so that we could have had a look at that turn 1. But yeah, for like turn 1 options. Also, Gauss felt quite good there. Axu, come at me, because like going through Bran for free credits, actually pretty sick. And we've got enough ways of reinstalling the Gauss that I think it's probably worth it. Like we can even just ASOPs it and then test run it back, and then we can play it again next turn and do the same. So maybe I'm in on the Gauss here, and it gives us our 2 influence to play Cupulation, which I just think is a really good card. I was playing against CTZ the other day, who was on like grudge ob kind of style, and I just kept cupulating his hostile architectures. It's like it kept like I run them. Obviously, he has to res it because otherwise I'm just going to trash it. And then he pays 5, I cupulate it, and it felt like it genuinely felt pretty gross. How often do you pump Gauss? Okay, so Thanos, this is technically. Oh wait a second, I've put this on the wrong one. This is technically the first. I'm trying Gauss for the first time today because I only really thought about it properly today. I was on Propeller. I was actually on a combination of Propeller and Cleaver. Neil, I love the idea of installing Salem on Brand just to assert dominance. So yeah, so we're hoping to probably never pump Gauss because pumping Gauss is awful. But I don't think there's many people playing those like mid strength barriers anyway. Like basically we're dealing with stuff which is 6 strength or like 10 strength, in which case Gauss is actually better than Cleaver. And sometimes Propeller can't even quite get there. Yes, so yeah, I will. And at other times, they're just like one strength ice, and we can deal with it. Yeah, yeah. The Hagen's scary. Hagen is like probably the scariest ice. Like Bran is the most annoying, and there is a chance, like again, like the influence here is like really interesting because I like playing two of the Salems, but you could just play one of these, and then you've got even more influence to like play around with. Um, Potentially, like you could play one for Salem, one Botulus, because being able to just kind of um like pull it off a Muse and go like, okay, I'm just gonna Botulus that. Like if it's something like a Hagen, feels pretty good. Um, and being able to rejig and test run your Hagen, your Botuluses around is pretty much as good as like the Thessalians. And yeah, then like Logjam on 7, like that's why like maybe we do play like a single Botulus. The other thing I'd quite like to play is a single copy of Poison Vial, because then we can just get through like brands and of most other stuff with a Slap Vandal. Doesn't help us with the like triple advanced Theros though. Still a problem. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The logjam. So, oh, hello. I've gone the wrong way there. Lucille, I'm just gonna hush your logjam. Your logjam means nothing to me. Okay, so here, can we do turn one tree? We can't do turn one tree here. Um, and I think we mulligan this. I can't see a great turn one, and we really want like. Okay, well, we've got. There we go. That seems like a good enough turn one. um, okay, so let me just work out the best play here. We install Coalescence, we click it twice, we have to kind of do it that way. We World Tree. Do we have enough credits to then get a Muse? We might just simul-chip the Coalescence back. Okay, well, let's do this. So we do this, and then, yeah, so we'll only have one credit here. So we have to sell it for the coalescent, for another coalescence, which is fine. We'll pop in here, see what we see. We see a hedge fund. Now, I've just realised that this is Thunderbolt. They are a deck that might well be playing uh Harkins. So we have got to be a bit careful of that. But again, this is turn one. We have a world tree down. We have two things to sell to the world tree. Well, one of them we're going to spec work, but we've got like money. We've got 8 credits. Lilypad we can't get because we need like something. This is like looks quite rushy, which is cool. I've not seen enough Thunderbolt. Okay, well that's pretty good. But I think we need to find. We really need to find some MU. The ideal thing here is if we draw a lily pad, then we're going to rejig this coalescence, putting the lily pad down instead. We're probably going to do that if we draw any MU. Gauss is fine. Cobbulation's cool. So now we probably just run and get a Muse on the board. Because we want a Muse on the board. We'll go to the heap, we'll get a coalescence. We see a Hagen. There we go. I told you they were in here. Hush prevents Thunderbolt subs, right? I don't know. Whenever you raise a piece of AP ice, get that ice gains 1 strength and gains. Is that an ability? Gains 1 strength feels like an ability. Gains a sub. Yeah, I think so. Right, we'd love to draw. That's probably the Hagen, which is quite cool because we could face check it and then just gauss through it if we need to. But what we really want to draw this turn is some hardware. This is the one time where we're like, we actually want to draw something rather than just World Tree and stuff. Okay. So here we might get an Aesops because otherwise our MU is going to become like a bit tricky. um, Coalescences can go pretty high in this one, but multiple Mews is what you gotta keep track of. I think I installed 20 Muses in a game the other day. I think I installed 20 in a game. Like genuinely, like with all the reinstalls, deinstalls, what have you. Um, it was like quite nuts. It was quite the nutty game. It did go long. Right. So here we're going to need to start clearing our board. So I think like install telework, click telework, run and get an ASOPs is kind of fine. It's not the best. We can't quite challenge here. Asmon's cool. I don't think we've got any other viruses though. We're playing like a Palangi or something. Um, we might actually just get a Nuka to look for the hardware next turn. Yeah, I think we get like Nuka. So we just need any piece of hardware and we'll turn it into a lily pad. Like quite often you unfortunately end up turning like a DZMZ into a lily pad. Oh, they're on Stegodon. That's fine. We're going to bypass all of their ice, right? That's our plan. Okay, we're going to turn a symbol chip um into a lily pad, which is not like absolutely ideal. What are we going to have to... We're going to have to throw out something here. I like most of our cards. Lily pad is really important for MU early on. And then last click. We haven't installed a program yet, but we don't want to draw anymore. So I think we might just install the bones. And then what do we throw out? Is it a rejig? It might be a rejig. I really like the rejigs. Maybe it's just a compilation, actually, isn't it? Like this is the least good card right now. Yeah, fine. Um, so here we could hit them. Oh, that's fun. Right, that means that we actually have to go and deal with this. I think we might not deal with this. We might just get going on R&D. We really think this is a Hagen. As they've scored a Stegodon, what I want to do is just get a conduit down and just slam R&D. So I think I'm going to start getting like breakers. Let's do this. We found our conduit, which is a shame. I think we run putting the hush here, selling this for a turbine. I think the draw there was probably wrong because we're going to get a draw off the lily pad. I think the draw there was definitely wrong because I only had 3 clicks. I forgot I only had 3 clicks. We'll run here. We're going to install the hush here. We won't draw a card. We'll breach the server. We'll sell this. We'll get a turbine. And then we will install the casts. I think. What do we throw out here? It's probably going to have to be the rejig. I really want to keep rejigs because I think rejigging the Gauss is going to be really important. So it could just be throwing out the telework. No, I want the telework the next turn. There we go. Maybe I should just throw out the conduit here because I don't really want to install it for full money. Can they do anything ridiculous with this MCA is the big question. I mean, they can score out 5-3, which puts us in an interesting position. We haven't drawn a Fasalem, which is an issue. What can and do we want to sell? Just test running. Like, ideally, I want to test run a Muse, not a Coalescence. So I think we sell the Muse, we get probably our Echelon, just to be somewhat safe. And then we can install telework, click telework. And then next turn we can like rejig the Echelon out. I might be going a bit slow here. We'll find out. Like I'm genuinely have no idea. Oh, we've got another test run. That's cool. Genuinely have no idea what they're up to. It's a bit scary. Okay, our icing up. That seems sensible. So here, test run the Muse, but we don't actually have enough MU. I'm going to click the telework, and then I'm just going to run R&D. I think it's a Hagen, and then I'm going to have to install the Gauss from hand. This is at the end of a turn, right? So the other option would be to just install the Gauss. Click, install the Gauss, run R&D, so that at least I don't lose the Gauss. But I want the MU next turn. I'm going to get a UAV from this telework, because that's what I need the most, so I can pull this hush back to hand. Because that's very important. I think this is fine. Kayaban is cool. We'll run R&D. Can't steal an Ikawa. We should be able to break anything that's like really problematic. If they don't res here, then we know this is a Gauss. Yeah, so Gauss as expected. This gets a UAV, which is like way more important than the Aesops. If you're trying to play this list, which I don't necessarily suggest because it is bonkers. The UAV is really important to like free up your MU. Right, let's see if they've got like anything really gross here, or if it's just let's score an Ikawa. Ah, that's actually worse. What did I do last click? Put something else in here. Yeah. Okay. Casts. Urban Art Massage. So we can run. They didn't res last turn, so I think the turn might be install conduit run. It might. We kind of want to get our buzzsaw first. I was going to say it might actually be like it might be time to get rid of the tree. I really want an entangler in my hand before I challenge like server 2. I could just go server 2 here. They can't Stegodon, right? Because they haven't got any ice resed anywhere. But if it is Hagen on R&D, it becomes actually a bit of an issue with this. I guess I'm 6. Hagen is probably 4 strength. It probably only goes to 6. Maybe it goes to 7. Thinking. So we could challenge here. We can't get through a code gate. Potentially a problem. Can't get through a magnet. That definitely is a problem. I also want to find more MU. I think we can run this. It's going to be a Hagen, and we're going to have to boost a bit. And then it's resed. Or we like... just MU is a bit tight. It's a bit too tight right now. Kind of tricky. Let's see. Show me Hagen. No, Ari. On way in. Ooh, Cyber Sand. Funky. Okay. 5. Quite a lot. But that's fine. We might as well actually Ari on this Kaioban. We'll draw a card. Oh, we drew a Buzzsaw. That's upsetting. But I guess happens. Do we want draw here is the big question. Or do we want money? See a gatekeeper. That's somewhat problematic. Okay, let's find some MU. We didn't. We found a symbol chip. And what do we do with the rest of this stuff? The Hush is like pretty good. The Nuka we can throw out, and we'll have to throw out one more card. It might well be the Buzzsaw, but we just symbol chip it back. I think we're probably throwing out this Coalescence, which feels really unfortunate. There's nothing here that we can install. What we could do actually, no. What we can do is we can rejig the Gauss to hand, putting out the coalescence and clicking the coalescence. And then we throw out, yeah, that's actually fine. And now we've got a fresh Gauss. I need to throw out one more card. Is it the Buzzsaw? I think it might be, so that we just simulch it. It might be the Conduit. I don't know if I want to show him the Conduit. It is the Conduit. Right, big question is, do we run this Spin Doctor? I think we don't run the Spin Doctor because we kind of want to get a Conduit up to like several counters, then potentially run the Spin Doctor to see if they shuffle. Okay. I mean, that's fine. We showed our intentions there, but it's not a problem. We'll do this. We want to find MU. We did not find MU. None of those things are MU things. We have 3 clicks. We want to keep these 5 cards in hand. We can install the Kaiban. We can install the daily casts. And then we're out of clicks. We want to make a run somewhere, really. Don't necessarily want... I guess it's HQ. Like, we're not really scared of... Like, Gatekeeper would be annoying. We could break it if we really wanted to. Yeah, we can always... Yeah, we've got various ways of breaking it, actually. Let's run HQ. See if they want to Stegodon here. They do. This is a Saracen Blade. Okay, so we could either pay 3 credits and do a load of nonsense to get through this with an Entangler, or we just pay 5 credits, we install a Kaiban, and then that's just 3 credits anyway, right? It's going to be 6 credits, I guess. Can't let any of this fire. Oh, and it's going to have another, right, because it's just been rezzed. Right. Where is it? Kaiban's going on here. We will not draw a card. Seven. 2 back. Okay, that was quite expensive. So we could sell the symbol chip to get MU. We can't actually really do that. We don't have. Can we do that? Can't really do that. We don't actually have a very good selling target here. I think we have to sell the Kaiban. I don't really want to do that. No, it's this coalescence. We'll sell the coalescence and we'll get. I think we just get Slap Vandal and then we can probably deal with the Hagen with that as an option. We don't want to install a Fasalem Entangler. We would get a Muse, but our MU is a bit tight. That can stay where it is. We'll install this using these credits, and then All of these cards seem quite important. I think the Hush has got to go, though. I think I want the Picachon over the Hush, because at one point we're going to smash R&D for all it's worth. So let's get rid of these two. And let's try and draw a DZMZ. Slapbits deal with Hagen. Yeah, I mean it deals with the. I'm thinking more of like if they res it, we can just break the first sub. Like it kind of forces the res, but we don't have to deal with the fallout of that. This is pretty expensive ice for them to re-res. I have forgotten that Cybersand gives them money to put this ice out, which I maybe should go deal with, but I think it's fine for now. There's a chance that we should have just sold this Miss Bones, actually. If we're not going to run the remote, and we might not ever run the remote, we should have just sold the Miss Bones. Right, we'll pull probably for Kayaban back to hand. I don't think we're going HQ again for a while. Let's draw one looking for a DZMZ. Yes. We'll install a DZMZ. So now we could hush out a Coalescence and make a run. But I think we actually want to do that next turn. Do we want to keep the Slap Vandal there? Probably not. So let's install the Kayaban here. We'll draw a card with that. We've got a Fasalim in hand. That's absolutely ideal. I am nationals. I don't know. I'm going to intercontinentals. No, continentals. What's EMEA? Don't know about nationals. It will very much depend on. Actually, do we just run here? Do we run R&D? We can facade them through anything. We have the MU for it. I think we can take a single off R&D. It feels pretty rough, but if they res something and we facade them it, then woe on them. We haven't got anything good to sell though, so I think we're just going to gain. UK Nats I would love to go to. It's at a slightly awkward time of year in that it's very, very close to my wife's 40th birthday, which is tricky. It's a small island, yeah, but it's in like Cambridge, which is weirdly like considering Bristol and Cambridge are both in the south of England. They're very much counted as the south. They're about as hard to get like the whole Cambridge Norwich lot. They're like it's like they might as well live in the US. Like it's impossible to get there. Ask anyone. Okay. I think it's probably time to start slamming R&D because this push is a bit scary for me. So I will Urban Art for the Slap Vandal, I think. And then here. Yeah, you might be driving 6 hours. The difference is I can't do that for child reasons. We'll draw a card. Spec work is great. We're gonna run R&D, force them to make some decisions. Yeah, Weeble, you've got an easy one. If I'm correct. Okay, Gatekeeper, we don't want to let that fire, so we will Arrisanna of Salem on here, and then we will pay 2. We'll continue. So here we might get. So we could pull out. I think we want to pull out the conduit, or we might do that next turn. Yeah, UK's got some good trains and mostly awful trains. Problem is, if we're pulling out the conduit, then we're probably selling this for Salem. Okay, I think we've probably got everything we want from the tree. So next time we're going to sell the tree. So we could sell. So we could just sell the tree now. Do it. Don't think we need it anymore. We'll use this one here. We'll trash that. Place one. We can go again. And now we can just like hammer R&D. Pay two. Yeah, we'll bypass for like nothing. They won't res a Hagen because it's really bad for them. Like if they res this and no, I think it's pretty awful. We'll steal an off-world and we'll steal Nikola. And next turn we can run this like 3 times. Or we can test run a Muse to get a Picachon. Oh, we need to put down the Buzz. Not if they don't purge, actually. Yeah, Weeble's got it right. So trains to and from London are generally like good trains in terms of like being consistent, but they are also incredibly expensive. Most other trains are pretty bad in terms of getting around places, but are generally a bit cheaper. Unfortunately, all train prices went up because someone decided that people wanted this fast train line. It's like the biggest joke of like British politicians just wasting money. Um, and it really sucks. Oh, second Stego. So they could push the win here. They need like 3 points. And they don't have 2 pieces of ice that they can de-res. Like double seamless gets them there, I guess. Um, Urban Art, we'll pull this back to hand because we can. I think we force them to res the Hagen. We could then spec work it and test run it back out if we like feel like that was expensive. Don't have a rejig in hand, unfortunately, which would be the better option. Oh yeah, because we also need to put the buzzsaw down. Oh no, we don't need to put the buzzsaw down because we still have this entangler. So as long as this isn't a virus, and if it is, then we can deal with that. We do have options. Let's see how much they want to spend on resing a Hagen. This is fine. So I think here we just bounce and come back, right? We put the Kayaban here. We will draw a card, sure. We'll pay 2, and then we'll jack out, and then we go again. And this time they can't Stegodon. Yeah. It costs us 5. That seems perfectly cromulent. MCA. I think we let them draw that. No, it's a win con. Let's get rid of it. We'll get rid of a Rashida. And we'll leave a Spin Doctor. I think that's a pretty bad draw for them. We could go back. It costs us like the same. So we'll put down the Aesop so that we can test run out the Gauss next turn. And just take a credit. Like, I think they need to purge for multiple reasons. What's London Airport to Cambridge ticket prices? Like, probably fine. Absolutely fine. It does depend which London airport you go to, though. Oh, that's another option. They can just trash the ice. It's probably better for them. Yeah, really depends on which London airport because some of them are nowhere near London. uh, like, genuinely nowhere near London. Basically, Stansted, right? Stansted's not a London airport, but it is called London Stansted. Somewhat hilariously. So I think this turn is something along the lines of test running out a Muse to get an Entangler back on this piece of ice because they clearly think that it's good. Could be another Hagen, which would be not that upsetting. It will be fine. We'll probably sell. Don't think we sell the Gauss because if we put down the Buzzsaw, we get through this Gauss for like 2 credits. So we'll just sell the daily casts. We really should have sold this Bones ages ago, but I'm just going to keep it just in case. So we'll put down the Buzzsaw. Actually, no, that's a terrible idea. Why am I doing that? We wanted to put down a Muse. Yeah, we'll put down a Muse. So we'll go to our heap. We'll get a Muse on the table. We'll draw a card. We'll get from our heap an Entangler. We'll put it on this one here. We'll make a run. Like, if this is a Mavirus, we do have ways of dealing with whatever this is. It's a Hagen. That's fine. It's the most annoying of the options. We have to pay 5. Oh, that's why we were going to put the Buzzsaw down. So if I install the Slap Vandal here, do I just install the Slap Vandal? I might just install the Slap Vandal, break the first sub, jack out. So just trash one person program. That can go away. We've now got a rejig, so we can rejig this Muse next turn, because otherwise I would... Oh, but we can spec work this. Feels great. Have 1 click left. I think it's just click for a credit. Like next turn, we can also like sell the Gauss, go back with the Gauss. I think just a credit is fine. I don't really want to let them de-res these. Actually, yeah, always forgets that other places have more than 1 real airport per country/city. Yeah, London has like a ton, but only a couple of good ones. You can even fly into sunny Bristol, if you want. I mean, I wouldn't unless you're coming to Bristol Regionals. You should come to Bristol Regionals. That'd be fun. Like, ideally, I'd love to go to some of the other not other Bristol regionals. I'd love to go to the other regionals. Okay, they purge. That's pretty good for us. I think we will Urban Art the Slap Vandal, I think. It's just whether we actually sell it. I think we just sell the Bones at this point, right? This Bones is doing nothing for us unless they end up putting Skunk Works on R&D. and then we just run R&D 4 times, installing the Slap Vandal on the way in, so these cost free to get through. Or we do that at least 3 times, and then we might test run out a Coalescence or something. Oh, Muse in hand is very nice. Gauss being pretty good here. Quite liking it. We might get a Kaya ban out before we do much more here, but let's just see. We could just win. Like, there's always a chance that we just win. They're shuffling back in. But we've got them on 3 credits. Like, I guess there's actually, what, 6 credits here? We'll place 1 on there. Do we want to get a Kaya ban out before we do anything else? I think we actually do. So let's Muse. Heap Kaya ban on this one so that they can't like do both. We'll go again. And then we've got like Aesop's target. Yeah, that's a pretty good Aesop's target. They're on Ichor, so there's a chance that we don't run last click. That can stay. It's a bad draw for them, and we steal an Ichor. Absolute nonsense. And we've got still like more that we can do. Like we haven't. This is so. Although this does have this, like, look how many. We've only actually installed 1 Muse. I felt like we used the Muse loads. That's hilarious. Quite possibly. I like just installing Cyber Sand naked for what it's worth. Making me run other servers is always good for Stego decks. Yeah, so the best thing here, by the time I wanted, oh right, fair. Then we'd have actually got like, then we'd have got value from our Miss Bones, I guess. There. Yeah, we've got like so much recursion left in the deck, even without playing the District 99. So there is a chance that the District 99 is a bit extra. It does give us this completely like unlimited end game. And really importantly, as a recursion piece, it means that we can afford to play like single copies of some like really important cards, like Aesop's for the end game. We only have a single copy. If we were using like DJ as our recursion tool, then maybe we'd have to play 2 Aesops, so you could always like get the Aesops back. Same, like we're only playing 1 UAV, and if we lose this, then that's a problem. But then we've kind of got this backup where District 99 can always get the UAV back. Just because like it makes the deck sing so well, the UAV, but we're not playing a standard Arrisanna deck, so we don't want to be on 3 of them, because we, as much as it's like all right to draw into it, we're actually not playing a ton of things which you can use with it. Like we've got 1 Kayaban, we've got 1 Slap Vandal, we've got 1 Pichon, and 1 Hush. They're the only things which we can use the UAV with. It's 4 cards. It's not very many. So this is like a late game piece, or it's a piece which helps us kind of sort out our MU at certain points in the deck. But yeah, and also just District 99ing like for an Airblades in like PE matchups is like really funny. Or you know, we can get our like one copy of Turbine back. Getting a single um Muse back is just almost always the correct option because that kind of gets you two cards back and you can install it mid run and all of this kind of nonsense. Um, but yeah, this is like a genuinely a super fun deck. One of the most wacky decks which works that I've come up with in a long time. Um, I mean that was like 3 games. We won 3 games. You know, undefeated on JNet. Hashtag whatever you want to say. Um, but hopefully you could see like the turn one power of like the idea of playing test runs and potentially rejigs and stuff like that instead of playing SMC. SMC is very expensive, and if we like those last turns where we were holding test runs in hand, the test runs feel really, really good. If they were SMCs, they would feel rubbish. There was nothing we want to SMC for at any point, like late in that game, and all we'd have been using them for is like world tree fodder. They're just there to find your world tree, and then they're world tree fodder. So just get rid of them. Don't need them. Like Muse is better in almost every way. Muse works better with DZMZ. Muse works the same with Urban. No, technically Muse works better with Urban Art because like you can't ever use the Urban Art counters for the 2 credits on SMC. The only reason you'd play SMC is if you did a different version of this, which was on like Flame Out. And I do want to try that because I haven't tried for like Flame Out recently, and there's definitely a Flame Out deck here. Because if you're playing free test runs and you're playing like Gauss and Euler and Mayflies, and then you've got 3 copies of Muse, which can recur those, although they are okay, but it actually is tricky because I had forgotten about this until just now. You can't, they don't work quite as well as you want them to because Muse, the card gets hosted on the Muse, so you couldn't put it onto the Flame Out. So that's a bit tricky, and I'm kind of assuming you can't install the Muse on the Flame Out, but maybe you can. I don't know. Does anyone know? Maybe you could do that, and then you could use the credits. I don't know where I'd find a thing for that. Flameout can host a single program. Can it host a program that's hosting a program? Probably not. Maybe. To pay for using hosted, to use these credits to pay for using hosted program. So essentially, no. So like these counter each other out. So if we said that by Flameout can hold a single program, it could hold a program and then a hosted program, then this second sentence wouldn't work. Okay, so you can't use that. But like using free test run and breaking stuff with Euler and Gauss, and potentially even Living Mural, as much as Eka works, no, because Eka works better with um with Flameout, doesn't it? Because this you install on a piece of ice, whereas Eka you can install on the Flameout and then boost it with the Flameout and then move it across. Yeah, you should always be on Eka instead. Um, and there's a chance that we could play, like, there's a chance that this deck could play Eka because you kind of have, like, as in Eka instead of Echelon. Because you have enough recursion, and because you have Thessalims to deal with everything that isn't called a Nancy, then you probably have ways of like not having to do the like, oh, there's 3 sentries and I have to move an Eka each time. But I'm still too scared to try that, so maybe someone else could give that a go and let me know if it works. Um, oh, Lucille's saying it can. And is that to the flameout thing? Because if so, hosting isn't transitive when you install. But then I'm worried that this wouldn't work. Then use these credits to pay for using hosted program. So I don't think, like, essentially the hosted program is the Muse, and we're not using the credits on the Muse. Like, if the Gauss was hosted on the Muse, to me this says like I can only use the credits for something that the Muse is doing. So I'm unsure. But either way, I think even just the having the test runs, simul chips, and rejigs is like enough to make the Gauss Euler suite work. Whether it's worth saving the one influence that you're just playing Buzzsaw, unsure. If we were also playing like egrets, then maybe, because then we can start breaking like brands for free. Maybe we'd need like you'd need two, but like breaking brands for like 2 credits seems like pretty good. Um, as in using Euler to break them. So maybe that's like an option. Could be fun. Could he even try Lilypad? Nah, not Lilypad. The other one, Umbrella. But I don't think there's enough Trojans in here to do that. No, I think unfortunately it probably is Buzzsaw. But I liked the Gauss in every game we played this deck today, and we came across some nasty barriers. So I have officially made a change to Gauss for now. I'm going to call that correct. I'm going to publish this probably right now. Um, Feel free to play around with it. You just have to work out that opening turn. The opening turn is really really complex as to whether you should keep and whether you should not. Um, but once you learn like a couple of the combos which will allow you to get an early tree down, it's quite easy. Like test run plus coalescence is enough, for instance, and you can start going from there. Um, if you've got a spec work or a rejig as well, then it's even better. Um, but you don't need that much, and if you don't even need a coalescence, you can get it going with other things. But that's the like the best and most consistent way. Um, and I think that's it. I think we're gonna end on a high of winning with a deck with no econ. Um, so we'll go back to someone asked me about 2 hours ago, but how do you pay for it all? That is how you pay for it all. You just make runs. Thank you very much for joining today. I hope you enjoyed the nonsense of this deck. Go and have a look and leave me your comments on NetRunTB or in the comment section here, because there are things that we could do here. I just don't try not to take it above like 50 cards. If you can bring it down to 45, tell me what you've cut, because I'd love to bring it down to 45 cards, because the consistency of that opening turn is like really really important. Oh, hey David, caught me just in time for the end. Go back and check the start of the stream, because this was like a real fun one. I'm off to bed now. I will hopefully see you all again next week. Catch you on the flip side.